The heart monitor gave one sharp warning beep. Claire Bennett stopped in the doorway of her grandfather's bedroom, one hand still wrapped around the folder from his lawyer. She had flown across the country because Samuel Bennett had requested one final meeting about his will. She expected lawyers, family, and cold business talk. Instead, she saw a stranger sitting beside the bed. A black single dad in a faded work jacket held Samuel's hand as if he belonged there. His other arm rested around a little girl asleep against his shoulder. "Who are you?" Claire asked. The man looked up. His eyes were tired, but steady. Marcus Hale. His jacket smelled faintly of rain and engine oil. Marcus had come straight from a 12-hour shift driving patients between rural clinics. Since his wife died 8 years earlier, he had built his life around work, school pickups, cheap dinners, and bedtime stories for his 8-year-old daughter, Ava. He did not own a suit. He did not know anyone at the country club. Yet Samuel Bennett had called him every evening for 6 months. Samuel's fingers tightened around Marcus's hand. Claire stepped closer. "Grandpa, I'm here." Samuel's eyes opened. For 1 weak second, relief crossed his face. Then he whispered, "You finally came." The words hurt more than Claire expected. For 3 years, she had run Bennett Medical like a battlefield. She had saved factories, protected jobs, and doubled the company's value. She told herself every missed birthday and unanswered call was necessary. But Samuel did not look proud. He looked lonely. The little girl woke and rubbed her eyes. "Dad, is Mr. Sam okay?" Marcus lowered his voice. "He's resting, Ava." Claire glanced at the child, then at Marcus. "Why is your daughter here?" "Because your grandfather asked us to come." "That doesn't answer my question." Marcus stood carefully, keeping one hand under Ava's shoulder. "He helped us when we needed it. We helped him when he needed it." Claire's jaw tightened. "My grandfather has nurses. He needed company." Before Claire could respond, Samuel pulled a small brass key from beneath his blanket and pressed it into Marcus's palm. "Not yet," Samuel breathed. "Only when she is ready." Claire stared at the key. Marcus closed his fingers around it. "I promised." Samuel turned toward Claire. "Trust the man who stayed." Then his eyes drifted shut again. Claire looked from her grandfather to the stranger holding his secret. Outside, thunder rolled over the estate. Her lawyer appeared behind her and spoke softly. "Miss Bennett, there is something you should know. Mr. Hale is named in the will." Claire did not sleep that night. At sunrise, she found Marcus in the kitchen making oatmeal while Ava folded paper cranes from old grocery receipts. Samuel's nurse had gone to change his medicine. "You stayed?" Claire asked. "Your grandfather was afraid he wouldn't wake again." Claire opened the refrigerator, then closed it without taking anything. "How did you meet him?" Marcus placed a bowl in front of Ava. 6 months ago, I drove him home from a clinic. The company car never arrived. He asked my name, then spent the whole trip asking why I left Bennett Medical." Claire turned sharply. "You worked for us." 8 years ago. Biomedical design. She studied him. "I know every senior engineer." "I was not senior." Ava looked up. "Dad made the baby light." Marcus gently touched her shoulder. "Eat your breakfast." Claire's phone rang. Daniel Ross, Bennett Medical's chief operating officer and the man she planned to marry, demanded to know why she had missed an emergency board call. "Handle it," she said, and ended the call. Marcus gave a quiet smile. That sounded expensive. For the first time in days, Claire almost laughed. Later, Samuel asked them both to sit beside him. Ava placed a blue paper crane on his blanket. Samuel looked at Claire. Marcus once warned this company about a faulty infant monitor. Daniel buried the report. Claire's face hardened. That is a serious accusation. I had no proof, Marcus said. So I left. You gave up. My wife was dying. I chose the person who needed me. The answer silenced her. Samuel reached for Claire's hand, then Marcus's, joining them weakly over the blanket. One of you knows how to lead. The other remembers why leadership matters. That afternoon, Samuel died with Ava's paper crane beneath his fingers. Claire stood beside the bed long after everyone left. Marcus covered Samuel's hand, and she noticed his own fingers shaking despite his calm face. At the will reading, Claire sat across from Marcus in a room filled with board members and suspicious relatives. Daniel remained beside her, his hand possessive on her chair. The lawyer read the inheritance first. Claire received the estate and controlling interest in Bennett Medical. Then he adjusted his glasses. 15% of the company's voting shares will enter the Samuel Bennett Patient Trust. For 1 year, its independent chairman will be Marcus Hale. Daniel shot to his feet. That is insane. Marcus looked stunned. Claire felt betrayed. The lawyer placed a sealed letter on the table. There is one more condition. Mr. Hale holds the only key to Mr. Bennett's private archive. By noon, Daniel had turned the boardroom against Marcus. He spent months alone with a dying man, Daniel said. Now he controls voting shares and a private archive. Does that sound innocent? Marcus sat at the far end of the table, wearing the only suit he owned. Ava waited downstairs with Claire's assistant. I did not ask for the shares, Marcus said. Then surrender them. No. Claire stared at him. Why not? Because Samuel believed something inside this company was hurting patients. Daniel laughed. A former junior engineer is lecturing us about patient safety. Marcus placed a worn notebook on the table. This is the original design log for the infant monitor. My warning report is dated 8 years ago. Daniel flipped through it. Handwritten notes prove nothing. Claire wanted to believe Marcus. She also remembered every investor call Daniel had handled, every crisis he had solved, and the engagement ring hidden in her apartment drawer. The board voted to block Marcus from company systems until an investigation was complete. When he returned to the lobby, 2 police officers were waiting. A gold watch belonging to Samuel had been found inside Marcus's work van. Ava ran toward him. Dad didn't steal anything. Marcus knelt before her while an officer fastened handcuffs around his wrists. Look at me, he said. Go with Miss Bennett. I will come back. Claire's chest tightened. Marcus, tell me the truth. I have been telling you the truth. The officers led him away as reporters crowded the glass doors. Daniel stepped beside Claire and lowered his voice. Samuel was weak. That man used him. That evening, Claire took Ava to Marcus's small apartment. The refrigerator was covered with school drawings and overdue bills. On a shelf sat a photograph of Marcus's late wife wearing a Bennett Medical Hospital bracelet. Ava held the brass key in both hands. Dad gave me this before the police came. Claire crouched beside her. Do you know what it opens? Mr. Sam's music box. The private archive was not at the company. It was hidden inside an old music room at the estate. When Claire and Ava opened the door, they found shelves of files, patient letters, and recorded interviews. A laptop blinked on the desk. Then Ava pointed toward a security screen. The footage showed Daniel entering Samuel's bedroom the night before the will reading. In his hand was the missing gold watch. Before Claire could copy the video, the estate lights went black. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. Claire pulled Ava behind her and reached for her phone, but the signal had vanished. Someone was inside the house. The music room door slammed inward. Daniel stood there, breathing hard. "Give me the laptop, Claire." Ava gripped Claire's coat. Claire stepped between them. "You planted the watch. I protected the company. You framed an innocent man." Daniel's face twisted. "Marcus was going to destroy everything we built." "No. He was going to expose what you built." Daniel moved toward the desk, but a voice came from the dark hallway. "Take another step and you will explain it to the police." Marcus appeared beside two officers and Samuel's lawyer. He had been released after Claire's assistant showed investigators the estate entry logs. Daniel froze. The lights returned. The lawyer connected Samuel's laptop to the large screen. Samuel appeared in a recorded video, thin and pale but fully alert. "If you are watching this," he said, "Daniel Ross has probably called Marcus a thief." Daniel lunged for the laptop. An officer restrained him. Samuel continued. 8 years ago, Marcus Hale discovered that Daniel approved cheaper sensors for our infant monitors. The sensors failed during low-oxygen events. Marcus reported it. Daniel erased the report and blamed him for delays. Images filled the screen, purchase orders, internal emails, test results, and bank transfers to a supplier Daniel secretly owned. Claire covered her mouth. Samuel's voice softened. Marcus left because his wife, Naomi, was dying. She had used one of our monitors while giving birth to Ava. Marcus never knew whether the faulty sensor delayed the alarm that could have saved her. He could have sued us. Instead, he spent years designing a safer model and refused to release it until the truth was proven. Marcus looked down, tears shining in his eyes. Claire turned to Daniel. "You knew." Daniel said nothing. She removed the engagement ring from her pocket and placed it on the desk. "You are fired." At the emergency board meeting, Claire presented the evidence. Daniel was arrested for fraud, evidence tampering, and obstruction. The board restored Marcus's position as chairman of the patient trust and approved a full recall of the affected monitors. Then Marcus unlocked Samuel's final letter. Claire read it aloud. "Claire, I did not put Marcus in your path to save the company from you. I put him there to save you from becoming someone who could no longer feel what the company was for." Her voice broke. Marcus reached for the letter before it fell from her hands. For the first time since Samuel's death, Claire let someone see her cry. "I thought strength meant never stopping," she whispered. Marcus offered his hand. "Sometimes strength is knowing who is worth stopping for." Claire took it, unsure where that choice would lead. 6 months later, Bennett Medical reopened its infant care division under a new rule: no product could reach a hospital until the patient trust approved every safety test. Marcus returned as director of ethical design, but he kept driving patients to rural clinics every Saturday. He said a title should never make a person forget the road that brought him there. Claire began joining him. At first, she carried a tablet and answered emails between stops. Soon, she started leaving the tablet in the car. Ava noticed everything. One evening, she found Claire and Marcus testing the new monitor in the laboratory. Are you two having a meeting? Ava asked. Marcus glanced at Claire. Something like that. Meetings do not usually involve holding hands. Claire laughed so hard she had to lean against the table. The company created the Naomi Hale Safety Fund for families harmed by defective medical equipment. At the opening ceremony, Marcus stood before hundreds of employees but spoke only to Ava. Your mother deserved more time, he said. We cannot change that. But because of her, other families may get the warning she did not. Ava pressed her face against his chest. Claire stood beside them, no longer worried about cameras, investors, or what the board might think. Later, they visited Samuel's grave. Ava placed a blue paper crane beneath his name. You were right, Mr. Sam, she said. Dad helped Claire remember. Claire knelt beside her. He helped all of us remember. As they walked back toward the car, Marcus slowed. I spent years believing love was something life gave you once, he said. After Naomi died, I thought wanting it again would be a betrayal. Claire touched his cheek. Love does not erase what came before. And you? I thought success could protect me from needing anyone. Did it work? She smiled through sudden tears. Not even a little. Marcus kissed her beneath the old oak tree, gently at first, as if asking a question. Claire answered by pulling him closer. A year after the night she found him holding Samuel's hand, Claire stood in the same bedroom, now filled with sunlight. It had become a quiet reading room for patients' families. Marcus reached for her hand. This time, she held on first. Ava opened the door and groaned. Please tell me you are not having another meeting. Their laughter filled the room where grief had once lived. Kindness had not made Marcus weak. Trust had not made Claire foolish. It had given them the courage to build a family from truth, loss, and a second chance. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.